So my daughter is 3.5 months old, and at this point, I couldn't imagine life without her. She is amazing, she's wonderful, and even though she's teething and keeping me up till all hours of the damn night, I love her to death. And I can only imagine the fear these parents went through when tribal police came into the hospital and took their infant newborn daughter, baby Ingrid. But at least now we know that they will be returned to her very soon. Now it says here a tribal court has agreed to return a newborn seized at the South Florida hospital where she was born by Miccosukee police detectives to her outraged parents, reports say. The child was born 4 days ago to a Miccosukee mother and a white father. I'm probably mispronouncing that, and I apologize, but I'm really terrible with these names. The decision was made after an hours-long hearing at the tribal court on the reservation in the Everglades, the Miami Herald reported. The small Indian tribe, which numbers about 600 members, is considered a sovereign nation, and it has its own court system and police department, as most tribal lands are. You know, I used to live in San Diego. There are 3 casinos down there, Indian casinos, on 3 different reservations. So yeah, trust me, they don't mess around. 2 days after the girl was born, tribal detectives entered Baptist Hospital in Kendall, which is outside the tribe's reservation, and took Ingrid Ronan Johnson from her parents, Rebecca Sanders and Justin Johnson, sparking outrage from South Florida to Washington, D.C. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, it's like, I didn't even hear about this story until just now. And, you know, I mean, this is a couple days ago. This should have been national news. It should have been everywhere. Everyone should have been talking about this because it's like just that kind of messed up. The Miami Herald reported that the tribal police were accompanied by Miami-Dade officers and carried a court order. Miami-Dade now says the officers were misled. Yes, I mean, I'd like to know in what world you can sit there and have. It doesn't matter if it was, you know, like the baby is half Indian, half white man. All right, but they're still like the father still has paternal rights, which I feel like in this case was entirely ignored. Oh, right, no, that kind of happens all the time when it comes to dads, doesn't it? Yeah, they don't really have any rights these days, do they? Yeah, all right. Now you wonder why people are MRAs. This is one of the reasons why. I'd argue, no, really, legitimately, I would argue this is one of the reasons why the men's rights activists are needed, because that child belonging to that father would have the same rights afforded to that father as a citizen of this country. And have it taken away like that because officers are misled by tribal police, it's just ridiculous. It is. It's just ridiculous. The parents filed complaints with police and prosecutors and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, saying tribal order was concocted by the baby's grandmother, Betty Osaloa, to keep Johnson out of the girl's life. The tribal order grants custody to the grandmother. Who in what world could do that? In what, I mean, like, on, like, okay, fine. Okay, they're a sovereign land. Okay, fine. Sovereign land. They have the ability to do what they want there. I get it. Within reason, I guess. Within, you know, whatever. But because they pass an order or a judge declares something on tribal land does not mean that it transfers over to the rest of the country. Not one damn bit. And that's just ridiculous beyond belief. The father, who's 36, so we're basically the same age, says, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how this happened. I can't even begin to explain how hard this has been. I don't see how people of the Miccosukee tribe can look me in the face and tell me this is okay. Sanders, 28, says she too feels like she has no rights. I thought the tribe was to protect its people and not use its own rulings to control its people. But I would argue that even though they're a sovereign land and they have the ability to do what they want, they're still considered American citizens, so they would still have the same rights that the rest of us have. I mean, that's as far as I'm aware of the situation. If that is not the case, are these like the sovereign citizens you hear about every once in a while? Fort Lauderdale attorney Bradford Cohen, who represents Sanders, said the baby is missing critical bonding time with her mother, which is absolutely true. I mean, absolutely true. We don't know the health of the baby. We don't know if she is receiving proper care. Authorities are reviewing what happened at the hospital, which said in a statement that its officials followed a court order. Miami-Dade police said its officers were asked to provide backup while tribal officers executed a federal court order, but the order came from the tribe, not the federal government. Oh my God. Man. Read the fucking paperwork. Jesus Christ. When I worked at the casino, I was security. Okay. I was security. I would work in the soft count room where they would count all the money from the table games. All right. And like anyone wanted to come in, my job was to make sure I checked all of their ID and I made sure all of it was legit. And I was like the third checkpoint. I was like the final checkpoint to get into where we were at. So, you know, I'm like that last line of defense. And if I didn't ask those questions, I would be out of a job. And the fact that 2 Miami-Dade officers were approached by tribal police and were just like, we have this federal court order. And they're like, yeah, okay. Is just, there's a lawsuit here on not only against the tribe, but against the police. I mean, especially the police. I would be all up in that. I would news reports, everything. I would be coming down on them like with the anger of 1,000 fucking pissed off gods. Anyway, sorry. Papa Bear kicking in sort of thing. The tribe's police chief hasn't returned a phone call from the Associated Press. At least Marco Rubio is tweeting about it. That's good. Florida Senator Marco Rubio said in a tweet Wednesday night that the tribe used its court to kidnap the baby, which is absolutely true. They don't have any jurisdiction outside reservation, Rubio tweeted. I'm in contact with Fed officials, and this won't end well for the tribe if they don't return the child ASAP. Well, little Marco, go get him. You want to earn the support of your people and get reelected for another term? Go get him. You want to have a chance at running for president and you want to protect this kind of crap from happening? Go get him. Not saying I'd vote for you, but I'm saying this would elevate you a bit, in my opinion. That's just that. Anyway, baby Ingrid's parents have had conflicts and said they are no longer a couple, but remain amicable and plan to co-parent the girl. The Herald reports that Sanders was arrested 3 years ago for misdemeanor battery on Johnson, and she told the newspaper her mother pressured her into getting a restraining order barring Johnson from the reservation. Okay, so they've got problems, which is, you know, no one's perfect, but they're not beating the kid or whatever. Sanders said her mother became agitated when she saw Johnson at the hospital, and that Osalola had hospital security remove him, the grandmother. Johnson said he wouldn't leave until he saw his baby. I remember kissing her forehead and telling her, "Daddy will see you soon." Johnson says, "I haven't seen my daughter since." And I would go ape shit if that was me. I would use whatever pull, whatever power, whatever sway I had as being an internet commentator. I would be making nonstop videos, live streams about this. I would be contacting every person I know. I would just be raging up a storm over this nonsense, because not only are they, you know, the people aren't a couple, that's fine. That's fine. These things happen all the time. But to have the grandmother come in and take the baby away using a tribal order, and then the tribal police played it off as a federal order. I feel like that's impersonating a federal officer, which is a felony. So I would argue that there's some people out there that might actually be looking at some serious jail time if this thing doesn't get resolved. And hell, even if it does get resolved, right? No, what makes you think you have power outside of the reservation? What makes you think you have power over an American citizen? Because that's what baby Ingrid is. She's an American citizen. You don't have that kind of authority. You're never granted that kind of authority, and don't you dare assume that you have it. I understand that American relations with Indian tribes hasn't been the best. All right? I've worked at a casino on a tribe. I get it. But no, you don't have that right. You don't have that power. And the two officers that provided backup, I want them punished too. I want every one of these assholes punished. You know, I just like demotion. You're on freaking traffic stop duty, right? We're going to put you at the weirdest shift. You're going to be the guy guarding the porta potty outside of a construction site, because you can't sit there and mess with people's rights like this. You can't do it. So I'm glad that they're going to get their kid back. But the kid's 4 days old, man. The first 4 days with my child, it's like you're hugging them, you're holding them, you're feeding them. I mean, she's 3.5 months right now, but it's like that wasn't that long ago that she was only a couple days old. So that's still pretty fresh in my damn mind, which is why I'm pretty pissed off at this. So at least Rubio's talking about it, working with the feds, trying to make it go through. He's doing his job as a senator. He's protecting his people, and I can respect that. But everyone here who played a part in this, whether intentionally, unintentionally, or unwittingly, I should say, you're all fucking morons or should be goddamn fucking ashamed. What you just saw was a shorter clip from a longer show. The Rustled Podcast airs every Sunday through Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard on Rustled.net. Please consider subscribing to the channel, as well as 3 Buck Theater, and potentially becoming one of our sponsors at patreon.com/mundanematt. Thank you, and have a great day.